I used to believe family was a shelter, warm, steady, unshakable. My mother raised me on that promise. Blood holds, she used to say, even in the storms. But on the night my entire family laughed at me, I understood something different. Blood doesn't always bind. Sometimes it burns. It was my niece's graduation party. A big, extravagant gathering at my elder sister Helen's home in Manchester. The kind of party where everyone pretended to be richer, happier, more successful than they really were. I arrived quietly, holding a small gift, a silver bracelet engraved with "Rise and Keep Rising." It was the last piece of silver my mother left me. I thought my niece Clara would appreciate something meaningful. I couldn't have been more wrong. Clara took the box, opened it, stared at the bracelet, then looked at me with a smirk that sliced deeper than any blade. "Auntie," she said loudly, holding up the bracelet for everyone to see. "This looks cheap. Like something a nobody would give." The room froze for a moment, just long enough for me to feel the sting, and then it erupted. Everyone laughed. My sisters, my brothers-in-law, my cousins, neighbors. Even my own brother Daniel, who used to protect me when we were younger, let out a chuckle. Helen waved her champagne glass dismissively. "Well, darling," she told Clara, "your aunt doesn't have much. It's the thought that counts. At least she tried." They laughed even harder. Each sound hit me like stones. Each smile was another betrayal. Each sip of champagne felt like a toast to my humiliation. But the worst came when my sister whispered loudly, purposely, to the guests. "You can't expect much from someone who doesn't even have a proper job." I felt something inside me crash. Years of silent endurance. Years of being overlooked, dismissed, underestimated. I left quietly. No scene. No tears. No anger. Just one single thought burning in my mind. I will not remain the family nobody. I will rise so high they won't be able to breathe without remembering this night. My life before the betrayal. People often think survivors are born strong. But I wasn't. I was the youngest of 4 siblings. Our father died early, and our mother, out of necessity, poured responsibility into the older 3. I grew up believing I was an afterthought. Not unwanted, just unnecessary. While Helen, Marie, and Daniel chased careers, traveled and built families, I stayed behind caring for our sick mother. For 10 years. I worked part-time jobs here and there. Cleaning offices, arranging shelves in a supermarket, waiting tables, to make ends meet. My siblings visited rarely, but whenever they did, they brought opinions instead of help. "You should get a real job. You're wasting your life. No wonder you have nothing." But I didn't complain. I loved my mother. Caring for her was an honor, not a burden. When she passed, the grief anchored me. The loneliness hollowed me. And my family drifted further away. I moved into a small flat and lived simply, quietly, almost invisible. But being invisible doesn't mean being incapable. I didn't know it then, but the moment they laughed at me was the moment the quiet part of me died. Something new was born. A month after the humiliation, I received a call from a hospice in London. They needed caregivers. My experience caring for my mother fit the role perfectly. It was grueling work, washing bodies stiffened by age, comforting families shattered by impending loss. But something unexpected happened. I was good at it. Very good. People trusted me. Patients confided in me. Families relied on me. For the first time in years I felt seen. But life twists in unpredictable ways. One night, I was assigned to an elderly woman named Lady Margaret Ashdown. Wealthy, sharp-tongued, and intimidating even in her frailty. She grilled me with questions. "Do you have a family?" "Yes." "Do they care about you?" "No." "Good," she said. "Then you're free to decide who you want to become." That night, she told me something I'll never forget. People who call you a nobody fears the day you realize your worth. Her words cracked something open in me. 2 months later, Lady Margaret passed. 3 weeks later, her lawyer invited me to a meeting. I expected nothing. Instead, he handed me a sealed letter. In her shaky handwriting, Lady Margaret wrote, "I have no children. I leave you my townhouse in London. Live a life worthy of someone the world underestimated." My knees almost gave out. A house in London wasn't just property. It was possibility. My siblings had no idea what was coming. My transformation. With a townhouse, things shifted fast. I rented out the upper floors and used the income to enroll in specialized end-of-life care courses. Soon I qualified as a senior hospice care manager. I created a small independent care agency named Ashdown Home Support, honoring the woman who believed in me. First I had 2 clients, then 5, then 10. Within a year, my services were recommended by wealthy families across London. By the second year I had 20 employees, a registered business number, small office, a growing reputation. I stayed quite online. No flashy posts, no announcements. I wanted my success to mature quietly. But success has a smell. And my family eventually caught the scent. It started with a message from Helen. "Hi sis, it's been a while. We should meet up." Then one from Daniel. "Heard you're in London now. Proud of you." Then from Marie. "Maybe the family can come visit." I ignored them all. 3 weeks later they appeared at my office without warning. Clara included. Clara, the same niece who called me a nobody, now eyed the polished office space with thinly disguised envy. "Auntie," she began sweetly, "we've missed you. You've become so successful." I smiled politely, but inside, felt cold. Strangely calm. "Why are you really here?" asked. They hesitated. Then Helen stepped forward. "Clara's starting university in London. We were hoping she could stay with you, just for a year or 2. There it was. Not apology. Not love. Not connection. Convenience. Clara fumbled with her bag, refusing to meet my eyes. I remembered her laughter, her words, her disrespect, the bracelet, the humiliation. I kept my voice steady and smooth. "I'm afraid that won't be possible." Helen blinked. Daniel shifted awkwardly. Marie's smile twitched. "What do you mean?" Helen asked. "I don't have space in my life for people who once treated me as nothing." Clara whispered. "Auntie, please. You called me a nobody," I reminded her calmly. "But now everyone in this room knows that wasn't true." They stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. Not the servant, not the shadow, not the family footnote, but a woman with power, boundaries, self-worth. Understood. "I'm due for a meeting. You may see yourselves out." Their faces fell. Clara's eyes filled with tears. But I felt no satisfaction in their hurt. Only closure. Revenge isn't always destruction. Sometimes revenge is elevation. My family didn't need punishment. They needed clarity. And life delivered it perfectly. Within the next year, Clara struggled to find accommodation. London was too expensive. Helen's business failed due to mismanagement. Daniel's marriage fell apart. Marie's eldest son fell into legal trouble. Suddenly, the family that once looked down on me desperately needed my stability, my success, my connections. But I kept distance, offering only minimal polite help. Not cruelty, just boundaries. One evening Helen called me crying. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "We were wrong about you. All of us." I breathed deeply, letting years of pain settle. "I forgive you," I said softly. "But understand this. I am no longer the sister you can belittle." She cried harder. "I know." From that day on their tone changed. Their approach changed. Their treatment changed. I didn't become vengeful. Became unshakable. They respected me not because I demanded it but because I earned it. A year later, I hosted the first family gathering at my London townhouse. Exactly 5 years after the night they laughed at me. The dining table was filled with warm lights, crystal glasses, and homemade food. The atmosphere was hesitant but hopeful. When dessert was served, Clara stood up nervously. "Auntie," she said, voice trembling, "I want to apologize for how I treated you. I was immature and cruel. You deserved better. Silence. Then I smiled gently. Thank you, Clara. That means more than you know. She took something from her bag, a small velvet box. When I opened it, I froze. Inside was the same silver bracelet I had given her. Polished, restored, beautiful. I kept it, she whispered. I just didn't understand its value then. But I do now. Helen wiped tears. Daniel nodded emotionally. Marie covered her mouth. And in that moment I realized something profound. The real revenge wasn't their suffering. It was their transformation. Who I became. Today, Ashdown Home Support is one of the top private hospice services in London. I own properties I once only admired in magazines. I travel. I give generously. I live without apology, without fear, without shrinking. And every morning I wear the bracelet, not as a reminder of humiliation, but as a symbol of rebirth. Gone is the woman who tiptoed around family to earn love. Gone is the woman whose existence was overshadowed by louder voices. Today I am someone else entirely. A woman built from pain, polished by perseverance, and strengthened by self-worth. The lesson. If you take nothing else from my story, let it be this. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who need to witness your transformation the most. Not to be punished, but to learn that kindness should never be mistaken for weakness. And when they call you a nobody, smile, because that means they have not yet seen what you are becoming. 10 years later, Clara now works as a senior administrator for my company. She calls me her mentor. Sometimes she calls me her second mother. Helen often visits for tea. Daniel helps run the company logistics. Marie heads the charity branch we started. The same family that once laughed at me now stands beside me. Not because they need me, but because they understand me. And the night they humiliated me, that was the night I began to rise.